and welcome to Catholic Current, where we give you an update on events affecting the Church in the United States. From Washington, D.C., I'm Mara Moser. Earlier this week, we observed Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. Day. In recognition, Archbishop Timothy P. Broglio released a statement. In it, he said, "In the 60 years since Dr. King's I Have a Dream speech, we recognize the progress made towards a just society that leaves no one on the margins, without failing to acknowledge that much work remains. Beyond remembering and quoting Dr. King today, we must act to address racial disparities in the criminal justice system, access to affordable housing and health care, and economic opportunities." Archbishop Broglio said that the USCCB continues to support policy changes in these areas of society, and he invited the faithful to learn more on the USCCB website. You can read his full statement at usccb.org. This week marks the anniversary of the Supreme Court decision in Roe v. Wade. Catholics throughout the country will be praying a novena for the protection of human life. We invite you to join the 9 Days for Life novena from January 19th through the 27th. The novena also coincides with the annual March for Life, which brings together tens of thousands of people from all parts of the United States in celebration of the dignity of all human life. USCCB is one of the hosts of the National Prayer Vigil on the night before the march. Pope Francis relayed a message of spiritual closeness to the people at the vigil and to those taking part in the March for Life. His message says, "Indeed, the building of a truly just society rests upon respect for the sacred dignity of every person and the welcome given to each one as a brother or sister." He called on young people to persevere in their efforts to protect human life in all stages. Catholic Current will bring you more coverage of this week's events on our next show. In the meantime, you can join 9 Days for Life. More information is available online at respectlife.org. This week, Christians around the world are celebrating the Week of Prayer for Christian Unity. It's a celebration that has a history of over 100 years. Father Walter Kedjierski, Executive Director of the USCCB Secretariat of Ecumenical and Interreligious Affairs, joined Catholic Current to talk about why Christian unity is so important.
Well, we would say that it's important, first of all, because it's the will of our Lord. In the 17th chapter of John's Gospel, we know that right before he gave his life for us, Jesus prayed that we might be one just as he is one. And there's a statement made that I think is very lamentable that, Sunday is one of the most segregated days of the week because you have different Christians who are just praying in their separate spaces and aren't praying together and aren't welcoming each other. And so this is definitely something that we need to work on if we really want to give a legitimate witness to the gospel being something that can be transformative. We have to first look inwardly and say, what do we need to change to show that we are more loving, we are more compassionate, we are more merciful, we are more embracing of the other. So that's why I think it's so important to do.
Bishop David Malloy, chair of the Committee on International Justice and Peace, spoke with us from Jordan, where he's taking part in an international delegation of bishops to the Holy Land.
Well, one thing they keep telling us is to pray, obviously. We believe that prayer is essential, that prayer has a real effect. And so to be praying for them and pray for the remnants of the early church that is still here in the Middle East. Beyond that, to recognize their plight when we hear the news about the turbulence in the Middle East, to recognize that there are effects on the Christian community. The possibility of contributing to Catholic Near East Welfare Society. Our own Catholic Relief Services teams up with, for example, where we are here, the Caritas in Jordan to assist with the refugees and with the needy. And the other thing is the possibility of even if you make a pilgrimage to Jordan, places like, as I said, Mount Nebo, or the site of the Lord's baptism, the site of the beheading of John the Baptist, various sites that make the Bible, make the Sunday readings come alive after you've actually seen the places that for centuries and millennia have been venerated as the spots that these accounts took place.
And now we turn to our colleagues at Catholic News Service in Rome for a fun story about an annual Vatican tradition.
Most people know about the blessing of pets on the feast of St. Francis of Assisi, but here in Italy, livestock farmers bring their animals here to the Vatican on the feast of St. Anthony the Abbot on January 17th. The Vatican is used to seeing pilgrims from all around the world, but once a year, livestock farmers bring their animals here to be blessed. The tradition marks the feast of St. Anthony the Abbot, the patron saint of pig herders, since it is said that he had a pig as his companion while living as a hermit. The Italian Association of Livestock Farmers claim him as their patron saint. That's why more than pigs were present at the Vatican. Chickens, sheep, cows, and horses also waited patiently for their blessing.
Benedizione.
Here at the Vatican, Justin McClellan, Catholic News Service.
Thanks for joining us for this edition of Catholic Current. You can find out more about any of this week's topics by visiting us online at usccb.org. I'm Mara Moser. See you next week.